We're jamming again down here in the basement. Down here in the dungeon. Got a little Andy Mineo going there. Little Christian hip-hop here for the day. Bones, lay down, please. It's a wonderful thing about live TV, live Facebook, live whatever. So, today we're on day 4 now. So, session 4, we're going to cover the moan. The honker, Canada Goose, honker, moan. That's what we're going to cover today. Like all the other notes that we've covered so far and the basics, the moan can be done in several different ways with different variations. High pitch, low pitch, fast, slow, blah, blah, blah. And it can also represent a goose's attitude in several different ways. So I'm going to give you what my idea of that is. Everybody has a little bit of different idea of what it is, and I guess none of us really know because we're not geese, we're humans. But I'm going to give you the best example I can, trying to make sure my drawing here is in the right place. But a few examples of some moans. Let's do some audio quick here. Yeah, I guess it looks all right. Let's do some examples of a moan. Hope everybody's having a good day. I am. It's a nice day. Here's an example of just a traditional moan. Let me get to it first. That long, drawn-out, mean moan. Okay, so that's a moan. That's one type of moan. There's lots of different types of moans. Maybe this is more of a traditional type moan. Okay, you get the point. I mean, that's as goosey of a sound as you can get. I mean, that is usually a big male dominant honker just stretching out his neck and usually when you see the pictures of his mouth open up and that tongue floating right there, that's usually when they're moaning. And moans can be a clear moan. They can be a very tubey sounding moan, real growly tubey sounding, if you know what I mean. But to cover the moan, we're going to cover the moan. Then I'm going to do a quick review of everything from the ground up. So the moan is a little bit different. You can see here on the drawing, when we're working with the clucks and the honks, our tongue, we're using the forward part of our tongue, right? We're using this part of our tongue, moving it up and forward. Now with the moan, our tongue's going to start more like this, like number 2 here. It's going to start where we have that buzz. Same area. It's going to start there, but it's not going to end the same place. With the clucks, it ends up on top, not far from where you start. With the moan, yep, here's my sweet drawings. With the moan, yeah, no, I'm such a good artist. With the moan, your tongue, like I say, is going to start here where this dotted line is, and then it's going to drop down. All right, here's kind of a front view. Kind of looks like a clown mouth, but you kind of get the point. These are my sweet taste buds there, and, you know, whatever. Anyway, you get the point, though. My tongue, like I've tried showing you before, my tongue almost has that cutout in it, that slope in the center. So that's kind of a front view of what the tongue would look like. Yaw, we're going to use the word yaw. You don't even have to put the Y in front of it if you don't have to, but just you can use the word aw. It's aw, aw. But when you start, your tongue's up here, where you have that buzz, and then you drop your tongue and you lay your tongue back, not flat necessarily, but back, and your jaw drops a little bit. Your jaw's going to drop down and change your air cavity a little bit inside your mouth. And then to cut off the air, instead of using the front part of our tongue like we have with the clucks, we're going to use the back part of our tongue to cut that air off. So it's going to look something like this. Okay, of course it's sloppy right now. It doesn't sound that good. With a moan, a hand position, and creating a chamber, a sound chamber for the moan, it's going to make it sound better for a moan. I think hand position is pretty critical when it comes to doing a moan and sounding just like a goose, because you want that deep, hollow sound. And the more you can incorporate your hands with that, I like to blow into my hand, kind of like make a little echo chamber here, but at least bring your hand down. Here's the difference. Just sounds a lot goosier. And you can actually hear that reed, it breaks over in a sense, not like it breaks over when you're doing a cluck, but you can hear the reed, there's a breaking point even with a moan, and it's going to be a lot easier to get that breaking point if you have your hand here and you create a little bit of back pressure. Most notes I don't talk about back pressure that much, but with the moan, I like to. It makes it easier and it sounds more goosey. So again, your tongue's starting up like this. Just take your time, take it slow. Same kind of deal. Tip of your tongue is anchored at your gums, on your bottom teeth, or somewhere in this area. It still has to have an anchor point, all right? So your tip of your tongue's there, it's arched up, looks like this. You get the buzz sound. Okay, you start in the same place as you do with the clucks and the honks. Right, so your tongue's up. To get the moan, use the reference word or sound of yaw, yaw. And you notice when you say yaw, your jaw drops, yaw, jaw drops down, and your tongue lays more flat. It starts going backwards. Yaw, yaw, yaw. See, when I created back pressure, I closed my hand up a little bit more, starts to sound goosey, and you can actually hear the reed break over at a certain point. It's hard to tell. I'm trying to do best I can explaining it in my mouth, but the air is getting cut off by this part of my tongue, the back part. It's still coming up and hitting your soft palate, but it's more of that where you say "k." It's more of that part of your tongue, the back part of your tongue, not the very back, but toward the back. So it's yaw. Tongue stays anchored. Got the vibration up front. Yaw, yaw. And to make it stop, of course, you just touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Yaw, yaw. Back of the call. I'm still using my voice. I'm not growling into it, but I'm using my voice at the same time. Yaw, yaw. Yaw, 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 yaw. Okay, that's the basic idea for the moan, all right? Now, if you need to stop this, go back and watch it again. Pay attention to this. Again, it's the same thing like the clucks and the honks. When you start, and then you'd say your tongue going up and forward, it goes back, down, and then your back touches. So pay attention to this right here. I'll go close up with it here in a little bit. But that's the moan. To give you another rendition of a moan, I mean, the moans, it's been said before, and I'll say it again. You can kill all the geese you want in the world clucking and moaning. That's very true. I mean, geese, most of the time, that's all you generally hear. Cluck, 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 moan, cluck, 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 moan, cluck, cluck, moan. That's their vocabulary. But in that, you have high clucks, low clucks, fast moans, low moans, deep moans. So you have different variations of those notes. So that's what a lot of guys are worried about, is getting all these fancy notes and trick notes and stuff I'm going to cover later, which is hardly ever makes any sense. But if you can get the clucks, honks, and moans Even scrap the honks if you want. If just shorten it up and make it a cluck. You can get clucks in different variations, high, low. You can get a couple variations of a moan, an aggressive moan or a nice easy moan. I guarantee you can kill all the geese you want to kill, and that's 100% true. So here's an example of a short moan. That's what I got it on my computer as. Let's listen to it. Real tubey sounding. And that's Goose. You can't hardly... You can't hardly replicate that note on a goose call. And from what I've seen with the next generation calls, with the red, white, and blue guts, it's the closest I've heard. And it's the best we've made so far to sound like that. But I mean, it's scratchy. It has that elastic, rubbery sound to it. Just like I've explained to you before. A goose's throat is not hard. Their tongue is soft. Their vocal cords are soft. Their whole neck is soft. The only part that's actually hard is their beak on the outside. The inside of their mouth has a couple rigid spots, but I mean, it's rubbery. It's elastic. And that was the direction we were going with our guts. That's why all of our guts, except for the rookie editions, come with that rubber inlay in them. It dampens the sound, gives it a softer sound, and makes it more like a goose. Then we made the next gens, obviously, for durability is the reason we made them. We're tired of stuff breaking. But when you start evolving to softer materials in the guts and what the calls are made out of, man, that's a deadly combination. You get those sounds. So that there was a short moan. That's my rendition of it. It's not the best, but see that the live bird's even deeper and man, they sound so awesome. Here's another example of a real goosey, tubey sounding moan. This is some audio I recorded, so I gotta find it here. It's gonna be in the background a little bit, so gotta listen close. It's coming up here. That bird in the background. Okay, it's hard to replicate. That's one of the hardest things to do. Now, I think with the next gen calls, we've got the clucks and the honks about dead on for pitch. But to make those deep tubey moans and those realistic goose moans, takes a lot. It's a little bit more advanced. So, and we're going to cover that later on, and I'll work on it a little bit here at the end. But let's go back from the beginning again just to get your basic moan down. I just want you guys to figure out how to hold your hand, add a little back pressure in there, drop your jaw, lay your tongue flat, yaw, yaw. You can use a reference word, yaw, W-A-A-U-U. So you kind of, the U-U kind of puts a cup in your tongue like this right here. Yaw, yaw, yaw. And that's a short one. It's just less air and you cut the air off quicker. All I'm doing the back calls. Dropping the jaw down. Yaw, yaw, yaw. Okay, it's just a shorter version of a longer moan. Okay, same note. It's just cut off a little bit. Tongue starts up. Make sure you start it where I'm telling you to start it. Start at the same place you would for a cluck or anything else. Get up front, get that buzzy sound. That's your starting point. Tip your tongue's anchored, and then you start laying it back. basic. Figure out on your call, whatever call you might be using, find your breaking point. You'll hear that reed actually, or you'll feel it too, kind of that break over to that moan. It doesn't break sharp like it does for a cluck, but it's got a low break to it. Ee-yaw, ee-yaw, ee-yaw. Same thing like my voice is doing. You can hear it break. Ee-yaw, ee-yaw. Same thing with this reed inside. Okay, that is the moan. Very simple part of the moan. Now, kind of goes back to the same thing. So when a goose is moaning, in general, from what I've seen and what I've experienced, when a goose is moaning real deep, has that low sound you've heard there, that's usually a male goose showing a form of dominance or territory. Usually, not always. And like I told you guys, I don't walk out there and stick my fingers up their butt. I'm guessing it's the male because it's usually the bigger one of the whole group, and he's dominant. He's out there by himself. I'm guessing. Or it could just be bad mama jamma on the block. It could be mom out there. She could be pissed off too. I never know. I'm saying it's the male goose, usually doing that real deep low one. And it can be used for lots of things. It can be done working into a double cluck. When it's a two goose sound, that male might be doing it, and then the female might be coming behind. Cluck, 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 cluck. We'll get into that later as well. It could. I've just seen just geese just do that. Geese coming off swimming. It's just saying, hey, again, this is my spot. This is where I am. Don't mess with me. You know, I can make this deep moan. I will whoop that ass. So, I mean, there's a big difference in how you do it and when you do it. A soft moan, pardon my French, I get carried away sometimes, but a soft moan or a short moan, you know, conveys a different kind of gesture. Here's a short moan and a soft moan. And a lot of times that softer moan might be done by a female, especially if there's a quarreling pair. You might hear the female making the softer, shorter moans, and the male's going to be behind her, giving the deep one still. Okay, kind of the same deal. When it's lower and softer, it's going to be a little bit shorter usually. When it's powerful, got that deep guttural sound, it tends to drag itself out a little bit. So that is the moan. We're going to go over it more in a hunting situation later on, but when do I use the moan hunting? All the time. It's just it's hard to say when I don't use it because it's always a note that you can just pop in. It's a go-to note. And it's like a tempo note that geese are always doing. Like I told you, when you're hunting geese, you're replicating a bunch of honkers on the ground. You're replicating them quarreling back and forth with each other. And sometimes they get going back and forth. You'll have one goose in there just steady moaning, a couple of ones cluck, 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 clucking back and forth. So a moan is always something that will add realism into your sounds. Another place guys use it a lot is in a comeback call, right? A comeback call has been taught for years as kind of like something like, I don't know, something like this. I don't know what you call to do it on. Okay, and I guarantee you that would work, but it's not really a comeback call. If you watch real geese on the ground or in a feeding situation, if there's geese coming in and they turn, you're not going to see one goose just stand up and go, what's turning those geese in the air is just excitement. Sounding like birds on the ground getting excited, making them think, oh man, that's real. There is something going on down there. Let's turn back. I think you could be just as effective as for a comeback call just doing fast, rapid clucks. It's not really a comeback call. You're just sounding like geese on the ground. You're getting excited. You're getting loud and getting their attention, and that's usually what turns the birds or makes them look back so they can see that flag or they can, see the decoys or whatever. So the whole idea of a moan just being a comeback call, I'm off. I don't believe that either. I just think you can do anything sporadic, goosey, sharp, and excited to get geese to turn back. Because if you, like I've told you, if you watch actually live geese in the winter or the fall during hunting season and watch how they interact with each other, the geese on the ground aren't necessarily sitting there interacting with the geese that are flying. They don't. The geese on the ground interact with each other in between their groups, and they quarrel back and forth for area and for dominance. The geese in the air are usually the really loud ones. The geese that are coming in, they're usually aggressive, making all the noise, saying, hey, I'm coming in, look out, put my landing gear down. The geese on the ground not always turn at them, just look at them and all charge them like they're going to fight. It's not what happens, guys. There will be a dominant goose somewhere, honking, always. There will be that goose somewhere. But most of the time, when you're watching geese come into live birds, all the sound and noise and stuff you're hearing, most of the time is from the geese in the air. And then once the geese hit the ground, then they start quarreling back and forth with each other and start making more noise. So as a hunter, you have to really pay attention to how you're doing it, when you're doing it. And the moan is just a great note to sound like a goose. Always mix it in with honks. You can mix it in with a lot of stuff, but here's a little rendition of how I would use the moan in a comeback series. I wouldn't just use it by itself and real aggressive. I would mix it with a honk, and I do it all the time. It just sounds like geese. It's aggressive, and the moan is a good note to build into other notes. It gives you time to take a break, kind of get a breath, and you can start jumping up and building a sequence. That's when I like to use a moan. But again, if you're hunting with a group of guys, there's 3 or 4 of you, and one of you is just stellar at moaning, right? I mean, I don't care who it is. That dude can just moan. Sounds really good, right? So, all right, Jethro, when them birds are out there, you just hammer on that moan. And I'm going to cluck real fast. So you're going to have him over there. And you're going to be... When you put that together, man, that's going to sound killer. That's going to sound like 2 geese on the ground quarreling back and forth. That's when team calling or hunting with your buddies is really, really effective, when you guys both can call and you know your strength. Anyway, we're getting too advanced. That's the idea of a moan. Real quick, let's start from the beginning, and then I'm going to turn the camera around so you guys have any questions. We'll cover more of the moan stuff later, just because there's so many things you can do with the moan, and it's a good base for a lot of sequences, and it's very goosey. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it and get that tubey goose sound out of it, that real scratchy, okay? Let's start on Monday, right here. Getting that buzz. Letting the air come over the roof of your mouth, like we covered. Making your air cavity small right here. Slowly pushing your tongue forward. Getting that buzz. Okay, now getting the cluck. Bringing your tongue forward and up until it hits your soft palate, and then cutting your air off. Of course, adding some voice in there. The honk the next day. Elongated version of what we just did. Okay, so what you should be able to do at this point is pick up the call, get that buzz, tongue placement, air cavity, it's the right place. Get the cluck, get the honk, Okay, so you have the honk, and the cluck. And today, we got the moan. Totally different. Tongue's up like this. You start it the same way, but you finish it different. You lay your tongue down. Yaw. So basically right now you have 3 notes. This is all you need right here to kill geese. If you can do these effectively, sharp, make them sound goosey, you don't need to learn anything else from here on out, and I can promise you that. But I know a lot of you guys want to, and I'm going to try to teach you those. So here's your 3 notes right here. I'll use them in a couple different sequences, and just listen to all that can be done with just 3 notes. Basically 2, a cluck and a moan. Okay, and we're going to get later on, we're going to figure out, I'm going to show you guys how to get more goosey and to have that goose rhythm, the actual goose sound, and those tubby sounds. So I'm going to turn the phone around now, see what we got for, I got to get rolling here pretty quick. On Thursday nights, I always have my classes. Okay. I'm going to turn this around here so you guys can see what's going on. What's going on? All right, who's on here? Roy, the best educational videos I've seen. Well, I hope so. I don't think so, but I'm just trying to give you my rendition best I can. You know, hopefully you guys can learn from it. And if you have suggestions, something that would maybe help you learn better, please let me know. I think, I know a lot of you guys have heard it before, but I think the way to get better is to listen to live geese. And I've always done that. Since I was a kid growing up on the farm, I'd go back to the back pond, like springtime, anytime, even obviously during the fall when I was scouting, but I would just sit there and listen to the birds and watch the birds, how they interact with each other. Man, it's a science, and it's very neat. My classes are art classes. Yeah, no, I just kill stuff. I don't draw too much. But I just like listening to live birds, and that helps give you that ear for that goosey sound. And it helps you relate as a hunter when you're out hunting what you're doing and why you're doing it. It all kind of makes sense at some point once you start understanding what a goose does or what a duck does. So, I mean, it's very important. If you guys don't listen to live birds now, start. And if you can't go out and do it, maybe you live in town or city or something, and you all have lots of live birds around you, get on YouTube and listen to live birds or whatever you got to do. Listen to live birds. Don't listen to people blowing a calls all the time, because a lot of people who blow a call don't sound like a Canada goose. They replicate it. They sound pretty close, but they don't actually sound like that bird. And sometimes I don't either. Like some of those notes I just covered earlier, don't necessarily sound like a real goose. I was just trying to show you guys how to work those notes and how to get those notes. But the way to get better, pay attention to the live birds. Watch them. See what's going on. What sequence should we start practicing to get better? Sequences? We're going to cover sequences next week. I would say, Charles, if you want to start practicing a sequence right now, I would just do 2 clucks. Sounds simple, right? 2 clucks. A high and a low cluck. If you got the cluck mastered and you get them sharp every time, start practicing high cluck, low cluck. Cluck, 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 cluck. Because that's going to give you a double cluck. That's going to be able to add excitement to your arsenal, because you can get fast with it. If you really want to start a sequence now, that's what I would start. I would wait if I were you. Just wait till I get to that point. You got plenty of time. You're not going hunting tomorrow. But that is more air, opening my hand up, less air, closing it down. And air control and tongue control. But we're going to get into the sequences later and how to build into them and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah. I just got a text message. Sorry, I was trying to read that at the same time. Anyway, good, Wes. I hope you're learning. Trying, doing the best we can anyhow. Any questions on here? I know it's early tonight. On Mondays and Thursdays, it'll be early because I have plans from 6 to 8, usually at the gym. So next week, or tomorrow, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday, right? Tomorrow we're going to cover a little different rendition of cluck and a moan. Call it the spit note, which is basically a sharp, rejuvenated cluck, and then a spit moan, which is what we just learned, but the beginning's a little different. It's got a little pop at the beginning, and then you lay your tongue flat. So tomorrow will be a little bit more advanced, but really, if you think about it, tongue placement's not going to be crazy different. It's not going to be, it's really not going to be that different. It's just the beginning of the note's going to be a little different, but the second part will be the same. So tomorrow will be the spit note and the spit moan, a little bit more advanced, and maybe we'll start putting a couple things together. The next week, it's going to be more fun. We'll start getting into some sequences, really sounding goosey, getting the right pitch. Tony, how far are the half-bloods? I'm waiting on some O-ring inserts right now. I'm telling everybody 4 weeks to be safe. It'll probably be sooner than that, probably only be a couple weeks. But I've got some guys waiting now, probably 3 weeks, and when I get parts in to make those calls, to finish those go out, and then so everybody gets stacked behind each other as they order. So I will get it out to you as soon as you can if you did order one or if you want to order one. But 3 to 4 weeks, I'm guessing it'll be more like 2, though, the longest. So, and we're changing the inserts on those. The aluminum adapters are fine. It's just, it's a metal, so it likes to shrink and condense a little bit when it gets cold. And I don't like my guts coming loose, and I'd rather not have to glue all of them. I still might glue them anyway, just to make sure that they stay in there better. What's the weight on Delaware and Big Mamas? Not that long. I've got them here. It's just, it just depends on who's in front of you, really. So I'm telling 3 to 4 weeks on everything is what I tell everybody on all my orders, just to be safe and cover my ass, because guys think that I just push them out every day. And I don't. I go in sequence as they're ordered. Everybody's got to kind of wait in line. And if I get backed up from other orders, some of the newer ones might take a little longer. But I'm going to go through orders again tomorrow and pull what I can. So I'm not sure. It depends if you ordered it or not. Joe, I can't look on my computer right now because it would take forever. But if you want more of an exact time, you can always email info@BigSeansCalls.com. And Cody can converse with me. I can look up the order and give you more of a better timeline of what it's going to be. But I have those in stock. I've got inserts over there. Not bad on stock. We're just waiting on a few of the small parts to put the calls together to finish them. So that's it for tonight, boys. Not a lot of questions, which is totally fine. Again, if you didn't catch us last night, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we do a regular live Q&A with me and Brendan, or me and whoever else I might have pop on with me. But that's every Wednesday, 8 o'clock. And that's whatever you want to ask. If you want to ask about notes, put them together. Say you hunt a pond and you want to ask me a tip on how you should put your decoys on that pond or whatever. You know, it's hard to explain, but I'm here to try to help you guys, bring value to you guys. I want you all to be better hunters, better killers in the field, and to sound more like geese. The better the guy is next to me, the less educated the birds are going to be around that I'm hunting, and in turn, hopefully it makes it a little easier on me. I'd rather have good hunters around me, people know what they're doing and killing them right, and actually decoying birds than guys pass shoot on a fence row. So I want to try to make all you guys better who are listening and more effective in the field. That's my goal. But it's Thursday. I'm out tomorrow. We're going to cover 5 spit notes and spit moans. So hope everybody has a fantastic night. Don't do anything dumb tonight. Be good little children. Stay out of trouble. I'm going to go to the gym and hit a punching bag as hard as I can and see if I can do a little sparring tonight. Love that stuff. But God is good. Work hard, pray hard. We will see you tomorrow. Peace out, guys.